5 years ago, BMW started adding more doors to their 2 Series and calling it a Gran Coupe. Here in 2025, we are entering the second generation of this 2 Series Gran Coupe. So as always, I'm going to go through this M235 from the outside in, talk about what it's been like to live with for the past week, and talk about what this redesign brings here for the 2025 model year. Let's go ahead, take a look. Now, don't worry if you don't have a PhD in BMW's naming and numbering scheme. Nobody understands what any of that means other than BMW employees and liars. But what this basically means is the 2 Series here, this first number is the smallest of the BMW lineup. That's at least the smallest of the ones with back seats and a fixed roof. But the 35 here is a sort of your power number. It used to be related to your power, but now all you need to know is the bigger the number, the more power, the more performance oriented, unless you just totally lopped off these last two numbers, is the full-on M versions where it's just an M and a number. Those are your powerhouses. Those are your performance oriented monsters. But once you start adding these other numbers to the end, then the bigger the number, the more performance. And note that there's no I at the end of the name. BMW used to put I at the end of the fuel injected stuff. Now they're saving I for the electric lineup. So just M235 now. Under the hood, we have a heavily revised powertrain here. Now, if you are a BMW nerd, this is still the B48 motor. It's a turbocharged 4-cylinder. It just has been heavily revised. It now makes 312 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. So a little bit of bump in power over last year, but a little bit of a drop in torque. As they say, the only guarantees in life are death, taxes, and BMW sandbagging their numbers. So those real world numbers are probably going to be a little bit higher than what they advertise. This is also now using a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, and it's a fancy little design with 2 sub transmissions, so it can actually pre-select the next gear before you want to change gears to get those lightning quick shifts in. And this is an xDrive, which means that it is all-wheel drive. The only way to get the M235 is all-wheel drive, but it is a front-biased system because it shares a platform with Mini. Now, if you're looking for just a 2-wheel drive version, there is going to be a front-wheel drive 228, so there's going to be a little bit less power, a little bit less performance-oriented than this one, but it is still a Gran Coupe. That's going to be a 2026 model year, actually, and it's going to be coming out in the next month or two. It might even be out by the time this video comes out. But the M235 is xDrive only, a front-biased all-wheel drive. A lot of times the engine cover is kind of an afterthought. I like that they put the carbon fiber kind of look on here. They went hard with the M. These M badges are everywhere. At the brace as well. The size of the M235 overall has grown about 0.7 inches in length, about an inch in height, so you get a little bit more space on the inside, but still we're talking 179 inches overall, so still very nice and compact. Same 105-inch wheelbase as the last generation, and you get a lot of different choices of wheel designs. I love that BMW does that. A bunch of different 18s or 19s are options, but there's no staggered setup since this one is a front bias system. A lot of the rear biased cars, they give you an option of having bigger wheels in the back. This one it's going to be a square stance, so all of the wheels are going to be the same size, but 18s or 19s, the M Sport and M Professional packages get you this wheel design here, and they're wrapped in Goodyear Eagle F1 summer performance tires. BMW does also give you quite a few different rubber options. You've got all seasons, you've got performance tires, you've got summer tires. So again, these are the Eagle F1 summer performance tires wrapped in 19s because of the M Sport or M Professional packages. Those packages also turn your 4-piston calipers here gray. No matter what, you get the 4-piston calipers as well as the 15-inch rotors. The package just turns them gray, or you have the option of red as well in the M Sport package. I would love to see that pop of color, especially with this purple, this Thunder Night Metallic. This color only sets you back $650, this Thunder Night Metallic. So glad to see BMW keeping things bold and keep things fairly affordable in terms of paint colors here. But great wheel design, great grabby brakes, great rubber around the wheels. So good looking out there. And we've got keyless access as well. Not in the back here, no lock unlock here on the back, but you do have a touch to lock right here on the front and a touch to unlock here on the inside, or you can set it to passive lock where you walk away and it'll lock, you walk up to the car and it'll unlock, but that gets kind of annoying because it's just constantly beeping and locking and unlocking. So I like to leave that off. The mirrors here will power fold when you lock it up. We got blind spot monitoring in here, they're auto dimming. You got the LED turn signal in here. You even got a camera popping out, since this one does have the 360 view option on it. So quite a few decent features here just from the outside, just looking at it from the side. Plus we got this coupe shape to it. Pretty nice looking car. This iconic Hofmeister kink here for BMW. If anybody ever says Hofmeister kink, that's what they're talking about. This kind of angle up through here in the corner, but they've got the 2 embossed in there now to give it a little bit of an extra kind of sporty look, a little more personality. But nice looking from the side here. The black roof is option as part of the premium package. It comes with the sunroof as well, the sunroof and the black roof together. The front end has been updated to match the current BMW design language. They haven't gone full kidney, which is nice, but they do have sort of an updated design look. This one has the extended shadow line trim because of the M Sport or M Sport Professional package. This one has the M Professional package on it, but the M Sport would also get you that shadow line package. Some updates to the lights, as well as all the black trim around here. A little bit later in the year, they're going to give you the option of illuminated kidneys here as well. Here, all of this venting, there's a lot of functional venting, the side air curtains here for the wheels and brakes, and down below here, there's really, this is all functional. I love to see that none of that is blocked off. So lots of great cooling. LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, LED turn signals. It comes with turn signals. You got the camera up front. I mentioned that 360 view. You got the parking sensors here across the front. And then here, this is for kind of your radar sensors for your adaptive cruise, because this one does have the adaptive cruise optioned on it. That's not actually standard, but that is optioned on this particular car. So that'll give you the radar sensors for that. And before we head around to the back, there's a camera up here as well. It took me a little while to figure out what was going on because it kept getting blocked on my way to work. And I realized that it was because of the windshield wipers going past it, because it was up here on the windshield, just right on the inside. So that is for the augmented reality nav. I'll talk about that a little bit more during the interior, during the drive. Back end here is a nice distinctive BMW look to it. Updates in the design of the lights here. I love the sort of arrows going on through here, all LEDs through there. You got the parking sensors across the back. And this one gets a quad exhaust. So the regular 228, the exhaust is actually hidden, but this on the 235, it gets a quad exhaust, which is really aggressive for a 4-cylinder. You got the subtle black spoiler on here as well. And then you got the camera poking out, of course. I mentioned the badge before. It's funny how they did the giant M2 and then the little 35. It's a little aggressive. It's not quite an M2, but I wonder if people will start lopping those off and just making it say M2. And then you can grab under here if you want, or you've got the option on the key fob here if you want to pop the hatch from there. And I love this load floor. So usually there's a big lip on most cars around the load floor. So this makes it nice and easy to get stuff in there, which is kind of cool. About 12 cubic feet of space. So it's pretty decent for a vehicle that's so small. So it's so compact. And then underneath you actually have a subfloor. My Mini has the same thing, so kind of funny to see that, since this does share a platform with that. But lots of extra space under there. And then you got the 40-20-40 split on the seats. You can pull these handles over here if you want to drop those down. You got your fix-a-flat kit over on the side. There's no spare tire, unfortunately, just that fix-a-flat kit. Net on the side, some hooks, and there are some grab handles here, so you don't have to grab the paint to close it up. And you cannot close it from the key fob, only open it. Other things you can do on the key fob here, you got your standard lock, unlock, panic. And if you option the remote start, then you have that as well. And you can do that either from the key fob or from the app. Just triple tap that, and it'll start right up. When it comes to the interior, you get a pretty decent set of premium features in here. But with this being, again, kind of your entry point into BMW with the 2 Series, you don't get quite as nice of an interior as you would get like with the 3 Series. You can't get the full leather all over the place. In fact, there's no leather option at all. There's only this Veganza, which is synthetic leather, but BMW does a pretty good job of still keeping it looking nice. It doesn't feel like there's cost cutting everywhere unless you're really looking for stuff like the hard plastics here, but they did a really good job of kind of just keeping it looking and feeling pretty premium. The vegan leather doesn't feel quite as nice as real leather, but if you're not coming from like Napa leather, like the reason I really noticed is because I got out of a Cadillac Lyric and directly into this, then it still feels pretty nice. And I love the big beefy steering wheels that BMW does. They again went all out with the M. You got the stripe here, you got the M colors all over the steering wheel, the M badge here, the M colors through here, the lighting up M, the lit up M in the seats, the colors there, the colors in the back. Really went all out with the M thing here. But everything is laid out really well, nice and easy to use, though a lot of the controls are buried in the infotainment. So you got the big double screen now, which BMW has been using for quite a while in other cars, but now it's made it here into the 2 Series Gran Coupe. But there's a lot in here. This is the latest and greatest iDrive 9. You can adjust all your safety and driver's assist settings. You've got BMW Assistant in here if you want to use voice controls. All your HVAC is through here, but at least it's down here in the quick access. You do have your seat settings are in here. You got the heated seats standard, and your heated steering wheel this one has an option on it that is buried in here. You can even option massage seats on this, so that's kind of cool to see in a 2 Series. No ventilated seats, unfortunately, though. But Android Auto, Apple CarPlay are wireless through here. You got vehicle diagnostics. You got your 360 camera if you have that set up. All your different drive modes are buried in here. We'll talk about that a little bit more during the driving portion, but not really driving modes. They're like experience modes. Now, with so many things buried in here, it's nice that they do have this shortcut menu up top, so you can throw in as many shortcuts as you want to make those nice and easy to get to. And your auto start stop is up here as a standard shortcut. I wish that wasn't buried in the infotainment. I wish that was a button down here, but again, at least it is a shortcut there. And then you can throw your map in here as well. This one has the augmented reality I mentioned as well, which will actually show you a video of the street in front of you, and then it'll overlay different arrows and things when it's time to turn. I'll show you a little bit of a clip of that, but that only works with the onboard nav. If you do want to use your Android Auto nav or your Apple CarPlay nav, then you can still have that go through the cluster and through the heads-up display. It's just not as robust. It doesn't have quite as many features as if you use the onboard nav. The heads-up display I mentioned is part of the tech package. The cluster is laid out really nicely. BMW does graphics so well. When you have it in the personal mode, you can adjust all kinds of different things, your layout, your content. When you're in the different other driving modes or experience modes, it will set your layout for you, but you can still adjust the content in there. You can adjust the content in the heads-up display as well. Even though BMW has all these cool graphics and colors and crystal clear displays, it still works really quickly, whereas like Mercedes has all the graphics and everything, but a lot of times it's kind of slow, it's kind of laggy. I've had those systems crash on me a little bit. BMW does a better job of just everything just working quickly and working quite well. Buttons on the steering wheel are laid out very nicely, nice and easy to use. I love the big paddle shifters as well. I'm glad they haven't gone to like the capacitive touch or the sliders or the glossy black, just regular standard buttons and knobs and stuff here. They did their own kind of thing with the vents though, but that's fine with me. You got your memory seats on this one. These seats are part of the M Performance pack. So I kept saying M Professional pack and M Sport pack on the exterior. So the M Sport Professional pack is one package. And that's the stuff I mentioned on the exterior as well as these seats. The M Performance pack builds on top of that. So that still gets you all the stuff I mentioned on the exterior. And these seats, it also gets you a little bit more like lightweighting materials throughout, as well as it raises your top speed to 155 miles per hour. But these seats are really quite nice. These are the Alcantara and vegan leather. They're all kinds of power adjustable. You can adjust the thigh extenders as well. You've got thigh extenders here. Again, these are not the massage seats, but you can option those. These do have adjustable bolsters though, which is, I love it when a car has adjustable bolsters. That's like my favorite feature, because they're a little bit on the stiff side, but they're comfortable. They feel like they'll kind of hold you in if you want to do a little more dynamic driving, and you can tighten up those bolsters if you really are starting to push it, or you can loosen up the bolsters if you just want to relax for your daily drive. Got the Harman Kardon sound system here, standard. It's a 12 speaker system. There is no upgrade. There's no downgrade. That is what you get when you get the M235. This sunroof I mentioned is part of the premium pack. It goes all the way back, nice big sunroof. You have the interior camera option on this one, which I guess if you want to take selfies or take pictures of your kids in the back seat or video of them, whatever, you want to look at them through the infotainment. But also, like, if someone's breaking into your car or something, then that can trigger the camera, and you've got them on video. Got the auto dimming mirror standard. This does have the home link on it as well. Got a little bit of extra space down in here. You got your little nub for your changing your transmission volume knob down here. Some of your the only HVAC controls that are not in the infotainment are your defrosters, easy access to your drive modes and your safety settings, your standard wireless charger, cup holders are out of the way, your USB-Cs, got a little shelf up there as well. Back seats are really pretty tight. I'm only 5'7", so I fit okay back there. If I wouldn't put tall people back there unless you hate them. My forward-facing seats back there are okay. My son, you can see there are some footprints all over the back of my seat because my son's feet are right up against it pretty much. Rear-facing seats are going to be a problem. You're going to want a bigger car if you've got rear-facing seats, or if you just really don't like your front seat passenger, you know, always shove this seat all the way up and put a rear-facing seat on that side. But if you're on the tall side, or if you want a little bit of extra space, if you want to be able to pack the car full with a rear-facing seat or with taller people, then you're going to want a bigger car. But they've got vents back there. They've got USB-Cs. They've got the cup holders and the fold-down armrest. But it's just kind of to use in a pinch. And they have the purple child seat anchors. Again, I don't know why automakers do that, but they always match the child seat anchors to the exterior of the car. But I'm not going to complain about purple anchors. As always, I've been daily driving this car for the last week, as well as getting some good spirited drives in. And the M235 has always been kind of like this black sheep of the family. Like, it's front biased with a 4-cylinder, and whereas the rest of the family gets straight 6s and a rear biased or rear drive drivetrain. But honestly, this motor is no slouch. It's quick, it's torquey, it's responsive. It drives great. And the DCT I mentioned shifts nice and quickly when left to its own devices. If you do want to take over and shift for yourself, you do have these nice big paddle shifters. We got little grippies on the back. Let's take like half a second to respond, which is not ideal, but from the time that you pull to when it shifts. But the shifts themselves are nice and snappy and quick. And not only is this car quick to move, but it's also quick to stop. BMW does such a great job with brakes. They're just grabby enough, and they get you stopped very quickly and confidently. I was a little bit surprised to see a dual clutch transmission, just again because the rest of the family is using that ZF 8-speed. And even though that's a traditional torque converter automatic, it's still nice and quick. So when you are doing those spirited drives, it's very snappy, very quick, especially for a torque converter. But then where it really shows itself, where it really helps a lot, is around town. With a dual clutch, that 1-2 shift, sometimes you get a little bit jerky. It could be sometimes a little bit slow to respond around town, as well as sometimes it's just like a harsh shift. Just like when you're in that stop and go traffic, or when you've going from stoplights. Whereas the 8-speed and the rest of the lineup is very smooth pretty much all the time. It's not jerky all the time, but it does happen here and there around town. Now, the fact that it's front bias does feel like a disadvantage, but again, it drives great. Even though it shares a chassis with the Mini, Mini is more playful. It's a little looser around the corners. That one was also on different tires. The tires here are much better, but this one drives like a BMW through the curves. It's very buttoned up. It's point and shoot. It feels very confident through the corners. Now, I'm sure if you were to push this to its limits at the track or at autocross, that's where that front bias would show itself a lot more. But at the limits of the street, It drives great. The M Sport suspension is now standard, which I'm sure is helping with that quite a bit. And you do get a standard limited slip differential as well. And again, the tires are different than the ones in the Mini, which are definitely helping. Eagle F1s are a great summer tire. Now, note that you do get a few different driving modes, but they're not really driving modes. They're experience modes. This again was the same as the Mini had these kind of different modes as well. It's a little bit confusing if you just look through them by name. Uh, like there's a personal mode, sport, efficient, expressive, relax, digital art, silent. Like it's a little bit hard to tell what they're doing, but some of them do affect the way the car drives. Obviously, with sport, it's going to drive a little bit sportier. It's going to stiffen up your suspension. It's going to tighten up your steering a little bit. It's going to make your shift points a little bit more aggressive. It's going to hold the gears a little bit longer. But you can actually dial that one in as well. When you're in sport mode, you can adjust those things that I just mentioned to be at different levels. Whereas like the personal mode, you can't really do a lot with it, but that's like your normal mode. Efficient mode is like an eco mode. And honestly, this is probably the only eco mode I've ever experienced that isn't totally infuriating. I actually prefer that mode around town because it does smooth out that 1-2 shift and it makes it a little bit more gradual of a response on the throttle. So I actually prefer driving in that than any of the other modes I'm driving around town. But then you've got like the expressive, the relaxed, the digital art. Those will like change your lighting, your ambient lighting. It'll change, like it'll turn off your sound in silent mode. It'll open or close your sunroof depending on what mode you're in. So they're not fully like driving modes, but they do affect the driving. And one kind of cool thing about these paddles I mentioned, the Mini had this as well, but it wasn't actually supposed to have paddles, but it did. And it had this boost mode. This left one over here has boost in both letters. And what that is if you hold that down for a second, then it'll put everything in the sportiest setting. So it'll be as if you went into sport mode and dialed everything up into sport and sport plus. It'll just do that for 10 seconds. So if you just want, a quick jaunt somewhere, you want to pass someone quickly, or you want to fly through a couple of curves or something, in the most aggressive settings, you just pull that and it'll give you 10 seconds of fun. Okay, but let's face it, this is your daily driver. You're not buying the 4-door version of the 2 Series as your primary track rat. It has to do daily duty well, and it's lovely to live with. This one is optioned out with all of the driver's assist stuff, so it has adaptive cruise all the way down into stop and go traffic. It has lane tracing, which works incredibly well. This is not a hands-free system, but it works very, very well to keep you centered in your lane. Kind of surprised that you have to option adaptive cruise on this car, but even the $140,000 X5M I was in did have adaptive cruise because it wasn't optioned on it. So that's kind of BMW's MO, I guess. And this one, with all the driver's assist stuff, it'll even change lanes for you. You do, again, still have to have your hands on the wheel, but I guess that's kind of cool. That's one of those ones where it's a good glimpse into the future of maybe what a hands-free system will do for BMW, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you have to have your hand on the wheel anyway. It's got blind spot monitoring, it's got lane keeping, it's got that 360 monitor that I mentioned, and as well as some augmented reality stuff. I mentioned that as well. But the augmented reality shows itself in the parking sensors as well. In the surround view, show you kind of like these little balls of where everything is. It'll turn yellow or red as you get closer to them. It's got everything that you could want in terms of safety and driver's assist. Plus, you can always turn that stuff down if you don't like it, but it's very good and it's not intrusive at all. This might be the least intrusive safety system that I've been in. Now, even with the adjustable suspension, it's a little bit on the harsh side, even in the comfort mode. That's kind of par for the course here for sports sedans, these sport compacts. The G70 is the same way. Even the M340i with the bigger wheelbase is still a little bit on the harsh side. It's far from unbearable, but there's definitely a bit of a trade-off there to get the more performance-oriented car. You could lose out a little bit on the ride quality. If you really want the extra ride quality in this segment, go Lexus, you go Audi. But if you want the dynamics, This thing drives great. At the end of the day, I get why enthusiasts push back on the M235, at least on paper, when you've got a front biased 4-cylinder and the rest of the lineup gets rear drive. Even the other 2 Series with 2 doors gets rear drive in a straight 6. And if you want 4 doors, just get the M340i with, again, a rear bias and a straight 6. Honestly, I get the appeal. As I mentioned many times, it drives great. Plus, you get a little bit of extra back seat space and those extra doors. If you've got kids you got putting in the back, or if you need those back seats in a pinch, it is really nice and really convenient having that extra space and having those extra doors. Plus, you save a little bit of cash over the 3 Series, quite a bit of cash, actually. As always, let me know what you think of the M235 down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.